Alright, welcome to our Inscribed Angles Level 1 video, and I wanted to start off with a word problem so I could save us a little time in the end. So if you want to see, this looks more closely related to problems 5 and 6. Now here's the example. What is the measure of the subtended arc, PQ, when the inscribed angle, angle PRQ, is equal to 24 degrees? Okay, so in this problem, it's always best if we go ahead and we draw what we see. We know that these inscribed angles have to do with a circle, so I'll draw a circle. And I know that right here I see arc PQ. Now, this arc is super important. It tells me that we have 2 points on the edge of a circle, so we can say we have P and we have Q. Now then we look at this next word, the inscribed angle, and all the word inscribed means is that your vertex is just somewhere on the other edge of the circle. Now I look right here, I see P, R, Q, and y'all notice how this R is in the middle between the P and the Q? Well, that just means that this point right here must be R. So I can now go ahead and draw this, and we can actually call this two things. We can call it one, an inscribed angle, or two, we can call it a vertex on the circle. When you use your formula chart, they're going to refer to this as a vertex on the circle because you can tell that this vertex R is on the edge of the circle. Now it says this, when angle, and once again we know that an angle forms a sharp point, so I see my two lines here, they form a sharp point, and that PQR must be angled, must be 24 degrees. And now if you look on your formula chart, you'll see this formula. The measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 x. And remember, I always want you to make this switch once you put an arc over the x. Now you're asking yourself, do we know the angle or do we know the arc? Well, once again, in this case, we do know the angle, so I'll write 24 is equal to 1/2 arc x. And how do we get rid of 1/2? What's our trick? Well, we always multiply by 2. We can scratch those out. And don't forget, whatever I do on the right, I have to do on the left. And we know that 2 times 24 winds up being 48 degrees. And that is equal to our arc x. So I can come over here, really bolden that arc. Remember, we call this the subtended arc because it's formed by the angle. And your subtended arc will always be twice as large as your inscribed arc. If you need to, go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and finish writing your notes. But I'm going to clear this off so we can see example 2. Okay, so example 2, and let me go ahead and shorthand this. I'm just going to say, hey, I want you to find what is angle. Let's just make up 3 letters. Let's go with A, B, C. Okay, so in this problem, I'm going to go ahead and let's put in A. Let's put a C right there. And because B is the middle letter, it must be our vertex. So I'll just go ahead and draw this as such. And we are trying to find that angle. Now we need to know first thing, the subtended arc from A to C. Let's call that, let's go 32. We'll say that's 32 degrees. Alright, so we know right here we have a vertex that is inside the circle, on the circle, or outside. What do you think? And in this case, it would be a vertex on the circle. We look to our formula chart. We'll see that the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 x. And once again, what's the switch that I always want you to make? Yeah, that's right. Put an arc right over there. Now let me go ahead and switch up colors just so we can get something a little nicer. And once again, we're trying to find this angle right here. So we really don't know that. So I'll just rewrite this as the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 parentheses. We do know what this arc is, and this arc turns out to be 32 degrees. Now, whenever we're simplifying, whenever there's no letter here, we're simply just going to do 1/2 times 32. And so we know that the measure of angle 1 is equal to, well, what is 1/2 times 32? that would give us 16 degrees. Okay, so we can just go ahead and let me erase that, and we'll go back here. We can say, hey, that is going to be 16 degrees. All right. Once again, go ahead and pause this if you need any notes, but I'm going to go ahead and clear this for our third example. So here we have example 3. And let's say for example 3, I want you to find arc. Once again, we'll make up 2 letters. Let's go with RT. And so I'll draw my circle. I know that, let's put it like this. Let's say, okay, this is R, this is T, and we need an angle, so let's just call this Q. So I draw that. So if I want to find arc RT, well, I need to know this angle. Well, let's say that this angle is, say, 46 degrees. 46 degrees. All right. Once again, we ask ourselves, is this a vertex inside the circle, on the circle, or outside the circle? And in this case, we know it's a vertex that is on the circle. Once again, we look at our formula chart, we see that we'd have the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 arc x. And once again, let me go back to a different color just so we can really make this stand out. We're trying to find arc RT, that is the curved portion of this circle from R to T. And since these two lines come together in a sharp point, and we see this is our angle symbol, also comes to a sharp point, we know the measure of angle 1 is 46 degrees, is equal to 1/2 times, well, in this case, do we actually know arc x? No, we don't. So I should not put those brackets. So we'll just say arc x. And once again, what is our trick? In order to get rid of 1/2, we can do that easily by multiplying by 2. And remember, what I do to the right side, I have to do to the left. And using your calculator if you have to, what's 2 times 46? Well, that's going to be 92 degrees is equal to, remember those cancel, arc x. Once again, I can write that right there. We have 92 degrees. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you guys again at level 2.